Okay, Shivan, Jerome.
No problem.
So now you have already. Let's go on to the next one, the next chapter. So you have actually finished your life chapter on your technopreneurship.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do in the future? Like now you have been. What are you going to do next?
I think when I was heading towards this juncture of my life, to me it was about gaining financial independence, to be able to, for once, hop out of the rat race. Like how from the point where we graduate, we feel that we are always racing. Basically just competing with everyone, trying to make ends meet, trying to save money for our first home, if possible, to get our own car. So my objective was really to get out of this. Having achieved financial independence, having enough, in my opinion, to live happily, having enough for the family, then that basically to me is financial independence. So I'm happy to say that at this point I have achieved financial independence. I'm able to leave the rat race gracefully.
Nice. Okay. So how many kids do you have?
I have 3. The oldest is actually 12.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my youngest one is only 4. Yeah, so
you have more time to go.
I have many more years.
So in terms of your financial, because now you already kind of like retired, right? Kind of, right? So about the financial wise, how are you going to plan this kind of financial when you will retire at 40s and your kids is only the youngest one at 4? How do you actually plan, to moving forward?
Okay, so it's pretty interesting. During the days that the years where I was building the business, I focused very, very much on just running the business itself. So I didn't really see the accumulation of savings. I only focused on winning deals. After winning the deal, how to make sure that we complete the job with the least amount of financial resources, which naturally in turn at the end of the financial year translates into profits. So this will continuously pile up but without me really looking at it too closely. I basically just focused.
Okay.
So during that time, I had some bankers that were close to me. They constantly shared with me products where this product gives you 1%, 2%.
Investment.
So I told them, I said at that point in time, my focus was really on the business. And if you do run the business properly, returns can be 20% or even more than that. So I told them that at that point in time, my focus will be on this. This is basically what we call wealth accumulation. So basically just focus on accumulating the wealth. Basically start accumulating all the money in your piggy bank. So interestingly, the moment I stopped, I left the organization, my mindset changed immediately. Pretty much, I think 1 week later, I called the banker and I said, okay, so this is what I'm looking at. I want a fixed return of this certain percentage. Look at it. And basically, then my banker had to come up with a portfolio of different financial products that will bring me passive income.
Okay.
Because one very interesting thing to note is that when you are actively generating wealth, accumulating wealth, very often you don't have to worry too much about your expenses, because as long as you are relatively prudent, you don't splurge on very big ticket items, you know that the amount of wealth that you accumulate will definitely will overshadow what you are spending. Okay. So the stresses of overspending is not really there.
Yeah.
But yes. So the moment, I mean, the analogy is pretty much like you have a big water tank. This is your wealth, and at the bottom of the tank you have a tap, and this is a tap that you yourself, your kids, your family, everyone goes to the tap whenever they need financial resources. They'll go there, they'll start opening the tap. And bear in mind that this tap never stops flowing. Everything the tap just keeps on flowing. And when you are actively accumulating wealth and you are working, you accumulate profits,
So you
there
fill
is
up,
a
fill
very
up.
big tap at the top that keeps on filling up.
Okay.
But the day that you stop active employment, or you basically stop running a business, the tap at the top is shut completely. And every day you will be faced with the reality that the water level in the tank will drop on a daily basis. Every single minute you will see it drop. So it is then your passive incomes that will start to help to maintain or possibly even grow.
Okay, I see.
So I think post, I wouldn't call myself retirement, but I would say after achieving financial independence, it is very important for you to plan out financial investment instruments and tools that actually help to continue to maintain or soften the depletion of your wealth.
Okay, so you are saying that the tap on top must like if you are actually doing the day-to-day, they're just filling up the tank first. So your tap on top must be smaller than the tap below. When you are earning the money to save the tank, right? If you have the tap on top smaller than the tap below, that means your tap below is bigger and the tap on top is smaller. That means you are spending too much money, right? So your tap on top must be bigger and your tap below.
So the moment you shut off the big tap at the top, you must make sure that you have a couple of small taps, which is actually your passive investments that actually continue,
the small tap. I think I like the idea of the small tap.
A lot of small taps.
So actually one of the small tap you can actually put on is your CPF. Do you know that your CPF has actually 2.5% annual income?
Yes.
Yeah,
this is actually your ordinary account.
Yeah, ordinary.
If you look at your special account, the returns are actually way higher,
it's like
and
4%.
you can actually help to top up the special accounts of your child, your loved ones. You can actually top up their special accounts. Yes, the special accounts might be limited in terms of usage, where you can use it. I think the CPF is definitely a very useful tool for most Singaporeans. It gives you very good returns. It's pretty much a tool that is made available to every Singaporean by the Singapore government. So if you feel that you do not want to venture into private financial products, CPF is something that you should be looking at.
Actually the special account is actually 4%, but at the end of the day you actually go into your retirement account when you reach 55. That one will take a long more to go when you reach 55.
One very important thing to note is that the minimum sum that you have to retain in your CPF account at the age of 55, and of course thereafter you could withdraw the remaining. This minimum sum will continue to increase. Like it or not, inflation does happen on a yearly basis. It doesn't stop. This minimum amount has to continue to increase such that it is in line with the inflation.
So we do not know when we expire. So before you are going to expire, right? So what do you do every day, to fill up your time, during this after you kind of like retire?
Okay, so the first thought of retiring at the age of 40 was amazing. Wow, for once I can do nothing, and actually enjoy it. Yes, it was pretty relaxing, in the first couple of weeks, months. Actually, prior to me leaving the company, I had a plan. I had a bucket list of things that I wanted to do.
Traveling a lot, right?
Traveling was really on the top of the list. I wanted to do overland trips. The very first thing that I wanted to do was actually to drive overland from Singapore to London. This was something that I really wanted to do. Yes.
That is gonna be so fun.
It's you don't do it now, when are you gonna do it? And interestingly, I have had friends that has actually done it 3 times.
What?
Yes.
Your friend is very free,
No, so I think it's really about how you manage your time. So similarly, my friend, he got retrenched. he was employed full time with the
Okay.
MNC. He got retrenched.
Uh-huh.
Thereafter, he was actually forced into project-based consultancy
I
work.
see. Okay.
So because of that, he's in the IT line,
I see.
and the
So he's quite flexible with time
Yes,
and all this.
correct.
That allows him to do all this kind of venture stuff.
so he actually dared to do it.
Uh-huh.
And like all of us, we will always be thinking,
Too much burden.
Actually, a lot
We're
of
thinking
things.
so much, right?
If you do set your mind on doing something, which later I will talk about, which is the bucket list, is if you actually set everything, you take a piece of paper, you write it down, if you set your mind to doing it, naturally plan your life around it, and then eventually you get these things done. The last thing that you ever want to do is one day when you're 85 or 90, lying in bed, you'll be saying, I always wanted to do this.
How I wish I
How
could
I
do
wish
that.
I did it.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to do it.
Now.
Yeah. If you actually do prioritize some of these bucket list items, it doesn't have to be very big.
Yep.
It could be a very simple thing like, I want to bungee jump.
I did it already.
So that's one tick off your list. But it could be these small little things that actually tell you that you have lived, but you have not lived just to work.
Yeah, nice. He's quite smart. So in the bucket list, tell us a little bit more about bucket list.
So like driving to London, in my I have a have a thing for Land Rover, so I wanted to drive my Land Rover to London.
Okay.
That was one of the things.
Uh-huh.
The other thing was to go on a caravanning trip with my family. So basically to travel into the caravan, we'll go for a road trip. So that almost happened. Why almost? Because tickets were booked, caravan was rented, hotels were booked, everything was done.
Because of
We
the
were
ticketing.
supposed to depart Singapore on the 4th of June during the term holidays.
Oh, okay.
Then COVID came about. Everything gone. So with all this traveling not technically not possible.
So what do you do now? What to?
Yeah, so I started thinking, I've always wanted to build my own furniture. I always wanted to learn to weld and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So I was pretty blessed. The place that I'm staying in, I had the space to set up a small little garage where I started buying woodworking furniture, woodworking tools, and then I bought the welding. And I started doing welding stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Wake up in the morning, send the kids to school, come back, and then I basically just go into the garage and then just get myself down and dirty and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was learning how to weld, being able to fabricate stuff was also one of the things in my bucket list. But unfortunately, the excitement didn't last too long. So I started recalling why. I've always, so many years, whenever I was struggling with work, trying to complete projects, at the back of my head, I keep telling myself, I want to do this, I want to do this. Now I had the chance to do it, why am I not entirely embracing it? So then I realized that actually, my happiness is driven by excitement to be faced with new challenges every day. Unfortunately, I started sensing that I could possibly, I wouldn't think it's severe, but I could possibly be very slowly inching towards a little bit of depression.
Depression.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's amazing how how it hits you in all circumstances. Any
it cannot be like, to me it's like imagining like I have nothing to do, I can carefree and don't have to go to work, don't have to worry about going to work too late, traffic jam, things like that, that kind of stuff. Depression when you have nothing to do?
So I think I gather that every one of us, whoever you may be, you may be employed with a company that requires you to just screw every single day, all you have to do is basically to assemble this, you could be on the production line, but you have one very clearly defined objective, and that is basically to make sure you get to office on time, and to make sure you meet the KPI, and then you get home in time, and at the end of the month to bring home sufficient money to keep the family going. So these are actually all the baby objectives that actually drives you every day. So you wake up with an objective.
So now you wake up without an objective.
Yes, I actually find that I'm waking up not knowing what's next. So when I wake up, I'll be like, so what's next?
Yeah, exactly.
So this eventually became rather scary because you would realize that it's going to be like that for the next 40 or 50 years, possibly.
That's too long, right? 40 or 50 years without doing anything, that's a bit too long. So do you pick up any new hobby or any new things since you like challenges so much or you like new things so much?
So interestingly, I started doing, so in order to excite myself, I started to look out of the norm, like everyone's thinking, go study, get an MBA, get a master's, a PhD in something, you're good at engineering. Then I started questioning myself, if I go for an MBA, where is the MBA going to lead me? Because that is not going to give me happiness. As I'm studying the MBA, I will probably be questioning myself, why am I here? So I started looking at very shorter courses, where I wanted to start experiencing things that I probably wouldn't get to try out if I get an MBA. So the first thing on the list, I went to get a taxi license.
Taxi license? That's what my dad is doing, okay?
So I can tell you, so it was rather interesting that after I got the taxi license, so I was actually offered a 12-day trial. So we were offered a taxi free of rental. We could use it for 12 days.
Interesting.
To basically let us try out to see if it's something that we like. For me, I took this as a perfect opportunity to actually live 12 days in the shoes of a taxi driver.
Cool.
Which we could never really understand unless we are in their shoes.
Yeah, true.
So it is actually a very tough job.
I actually do agree with you.
Everyone thinks driving is easy, it's fun, you have a GPS that leads you everywhere, you just follow the instructions. It's tough. It's mentally stressful. If you think about it, a taxi driver is a navigator, he's an operator of the machine, at the same time he's a customer service officer, at the same time he's also a cashier. At the same time, now they just make things so much more exciting by putting in at least 8 different payment modes on the taxi terminal.
That was complaining.
Yeah. So imagine there are so many ways you can use QR, WeChat, Alipay, PayNow, PayLah, credit card, Nets, everything. So myself, when I went for the course to learn how to use the payment terminal, it was a challenge. So you can imagine the taxi uncle, he's really good at driving, he knows the roads well, but how is he going to overcome the challenge?
Exactly. I remember one case when I was taking a taxi, the taxi uncle told me, say, 小姐, excuse me, miss, what is this? So he showed me one that is a downloading, circles, like downloading icon. I said, uncle, it's downloading. I said, what is this? I can't use, I don't know. Uncle, wait, it's downloading. So maybe there's some problem with the terminal, you have to wait. Then he's like, I don't know, 小姐, I don't know. I said, okay, uncle, I pay you money. I pay you cash. You go back and then you go and ask your whatever counter service and then you use. So it's a bit tough for them to follow up the speed, follow up the technology coming up for the elderlies. Like my dad is in his 70s, so they need to know about the machine and all this. It's already tough for you. You're like challenge for you. Imagine what kind of challenge will be the elderlies who actually never used this type of machine before and has been always using cash in terms of the payment term. So now you have experienced the life as a taxi driver. So every day you see different type of people. For the past 12 days, what extraordinary experiences? Like what kind of customer you pick up with?
I think very broadly, there are many different profiles of passengers. There are very, very kind ones. You know, like we reached the destination, they were very happy. You know, I told them, "Hi, uncle." Yeah, although I might possibly be young. I said, you know, please bear with me because this is actually my first day. I might be slow in navigating. I might be slow in giving you a change. But the moment they heard that I was, you know, the first day, they said, "Ati, heng 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 heng." It was actually a $15 ride. He gave me $20 and he said, "Heng heng heng heng, mian zao lui, don't have to give me the change, keep the change. May please help you be lucky."
Nice.
Yeah, so there are all these people and they are actually common folk, you know, they are not extremely well dressed, you know, I didn't pick them up from some expensive hotel.
Nice.
Just a man on the street. But they are so genuine, you know, in dispensing their well wishes. So I think that these are basically the silver lining of the cloud, you know, when you're working very hard and it's a very tough job. It is these people that actually brightens up your day.
I see.
Yeah, so I think these are some of the.
That's very nice.
But I think after this experience as a taxi driver, I really respect them, and it is really a tough job. I mean, money doesn't come by that easily for them.
Yeah.
It's very tough. You are effectively trading your health for the money that you get for driving. So do respect them. Like what Yuki shared, if you do encounter an older driver who starts to have challenges with the electronic
terminal.
try to be patient with them, you could possibly guide them.
Usually I try to guide them. If not, I'll ask them, "Uncle, pay lah, okay?" Then usually they say, okay. Then I will know that okay, they are acceptable. If not, I will try to pay. Because nowadays it's a lot of cashless, you know, you don't have cash when you on hand, that kind of stuff. So you try as much as possible with cashless. And nowadays COVID, and they were saying that the COVID will kind of like the virus will stay onto the notes, whatever, you know. So as much as it's concerned, we try to do cashless. That is why. So moving forward.
Yeah, so I think so moving on from the taxi episode, right? So what I've done now, while waiting for the borders to open so I can actually travel, is that I've actually started filling my life with what I call micro adventures. Okay, so what I mean by micro adventures, this is rather interesting. Basically, it's thinking out of the box, going all out, you know, looking for things that is very unconventional. For example, last week, I basically shocked the life out of my wife by saying, "Hey, dear, I'm going for spin class now." You know, so all of a sudden, I stumbled upon this advert, you know, "Hey, you can go for a free trial." So I said, "Hey, spin class sounds interesting." So
what do you feel about this spin class? Tell us a bit.
I can tell you, after that episode, right, I feel old. Yeah. So when I went in, it was, you know, the entire class was all these young people, so full of energy. They were so pumped up, you know, they could basically go through the entire process. And then myself, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm dying. Either my heart is gonna come out, or I'm probably gonna be handicapped tomorrow. Yeah, so yeah, you know, but it's interesting because not having gone through it, I probably wouldn't have known what is it like. So that's one thing. So 2 days later, my next micro adventure came about. I went for a Pilates class. I can tell you, never would I have imagined myself going through this.
It's not easy, right?
It's not. You know, the Pilates instructor was demonstrating how to do it. Of course, we have to follow. She was demonstrating, you know, still telling us, talking to us. I can tell you, our face was like, when are we gonna end?
But it looks so easy for them, right?
Yes.
Like effortless.
You raise up your hands. I was like,
Yeah, it looks so effortless, but actually it's taking a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So other than this, I remember you was sharing with us that you actually went for another type of hobby or something that you want to learn.
So, for the first time in my life, I actually went for piano classes.
Really?
Yeah. So I was actually sharing with my friends, hey, I don't think I can make it blah 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 each day because I have piano lessons. You know. So they said, oh, you mean you have to bring your son to piano lessons? No, I have piano lessons. So they were blown away. You sure your hands
Seriously?
are like, yeah. But it's quite interesting because firstly I had a challenge finding a piano teacher. So, normal message. Hi, do you teach piano? Yes. How old is your child? Oh, it's myself. I'm 40. Then, very normal, two possibilities. One is that long silence. It will take a while for the person to reply. Two possible replies. Sorry, I only teach young children. May I refer my friend who is actually an older teacher? She should be comfortable in teaching a mature student. That's one possibility. The other one will possibly be, I'm sorry, we don't teach
Adults.
Yeah. So,
Really?
yeah. You wouldn't imagine that it's actually a much harder process to find a teacher. That's one part of it. The other thing is that it's way more expensive.
Seriously? Oh my god!
Yeah. I mean, my two sons, they go for piano lessons.
Okay.
What I'm paying for one lesson is the same as what both of them are paying. So it's basically double the rates.
So the older you are to learn the piano lessons, the more you pay. The younger you are, the cheaper you pay.
Okay, so quick tip. If you are running a business, yes, we are always told that you always price your goods based on what you think your goods are valued at. Apparently not so. You price your goods at what you think people are willing to pay at. Yeah. So in short, if I come up with a product, I spend $3 making this product, and very naturally 20% markup, we sell it at $3.40.
Yeah.
No. If whoever who needs this product is very willing to pay $100 for it, sell it to him at $95, and he will be very happy to buy, and he will actually say, and he'll go around telling people, I paid $95 instead of $100, I saved $5. It's true.
Okay, that's great. Okay, over this many years after you graduate and you come out, of 40 years, but now you're at your 40s. Any taglines or anything or motto in your life that you want to share with the audience? Like any tagline?
Okay, I'll probably be stealing this from something that I read many years ago.
Right.
But I think it's still very valid. If you want to succeed in life, find something that you like and you're passionate about it. Keep doing it until you're very good at it. Offer it as a service or sell it to people, and people will pay you good money for it. So the end result is that you end up doing something that you're really good at, you enjoy doing it, and you get paid good money for it.
Okay, that's great. So at the end of the day, I want to ask you one more question. Last one. Do you work to live or live to work?
Never hit me because looking back, I don't think I ever worked.
Wow.
I enjoyed the process, that it was almost like play. For the past 12 to 15 years, it was almost like play. Every day to me, it was going there, doing something that I like. It was challenging at times. I mean, you get difficult clients, but you actually do enjoy the process. It's not like work. Yeah. Enjoy it, do it well, you get paid good money for it, and you will. So you basically live to play.
Cool, that's what Sharon has been sharing as well. He also live to play, and same as me, we like and we are passionate in our work, in any things that we do, it actually makes you feel like you are more happier than you are struggling, you know, that kind of stuff. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Jerome, and then thank you for coming in to our podcast, and we will see you next time. Bye.